I compare and contrast. And let me tell you fast. And in my conclusion, I see most black men as jack. But since the days of slavery, black man heart is hard like stone. Cause it's black man who make black man grow. Cause black man never like he old. That's why since last election, crow grieving. Look at how all you treat Patrick Manning. The way all you run him, cuss him and tell him go. I never see the Indian street bars they pan the so. Went on the thief and Mac Nicol switch pan the tail. Indians went and they candlelight vigil by the jail. So on behalf of a few good niggas that I know, or you should never ever treat Mr. Manning so. Shame on you, Daga, Errol McLeod and Neil Rumcock and Obika. The way all you destroy the black brother, you are for prostitutes of black power. Look at how all you get weak. McLeod I now choking him, he could hardly speak. I'm so disappointed in you, black man. All you said can lick bottom African. All you ain't ashamed. Give back the African man his name. You get a big white police commissioner. Where are the advocates of black power? Masiko sign here all Rambata and Wikijai. I never see they put tears in Masip and the eye. So the first of Scotty and crazy, you must understand. All that them is bottom African. All you sell we out. Look how all you have black people suffering all about. Are waiting on them for emancipation. Hypocrite, weak, lying, bottom African. Chucky did vex with Valley, but Chucky should apologize publicly, cause this hypocrite that she look. Valley was right to call all your muck, cause no woman who wears an Orini voted against the UNC, but Hazel Brown with she hair wrap up on Dukaran platform voting fuck up. How come Chucky never ever sing about this? No songs about this superior abortionist, but he make Eric Williams, Chambers and Patrick grieve. Any black government pound them till they leave. For 20 years, Patrick was the boss in the land. He lost. I went back to his humble home in Copeland, but in 6 months, I'll show you one big Marco bungalow. All you should never ever treat Mr. Manning so. Shame on his Brown. Look how you have black woman head dragging on the ground. If Rosa Parks was alive here, where she'd I do? But you're in the back at the bus and spit on you. So, on you, Brown, I frown. Give back the African, the head wrap and gong. I'm so disappointed in you, woman. Another link for African. All you ain't ashamed. On this note, I must call Bona Centro's name. The way all you make is a cry. That's all you ain't got. Remember, Jesus Christ spoke on harlots and sluts. Take example from the Indian people. They still have Pastor Pandey on a pinnacle. So Cleveland Raphael, Andy Johnson, and sprang along. All of them is a bottom African. All you sell we out. Look how all you have people suffer it all about. Are waiting for all you for emancipation. Hypocrite, weak, lying, lick, bottom African. Remember Narayan Singh? People said he should swing. They even free partner Shama and Ram Logan want to destroy Abu Bakr. And in a taxi, I hear a man say, Ishandem ain't going away. But if it was a little black boy from Lavanti, he would have been on the plane already. And how come I ain't hearing anybody? Why they go protest like 1970, where is Kafra Kambon and Orogo Ome? The so-called conscious men, they had nothing to say. And sometimes they just really make me feel to cry. When I see Macau dressed up in trippy suit with jacket and tie, if you forget wrong neck jacket, now we wearing big tuxedo. All you should never ever treat Mr. Money so. Is a set of fake for a couple $1,000. All the king gold break. Dr. Fido Blake always used to tell me that the black man is the black man's worst enemy. Leram Kipalani run the country. The driver can't drive when it was Robbie. I'm so disappointed in you, black man. You're white there, the late bottom African. All you ain't ashamed. Give back the African man his name. You should be complaining, praying to the office scene. You want to go up Lavanti and build a latrine. You'll find Panday on a pinnacle, so Cleveland Raphael, Andy Johnson and sprang along. All of them is a late bottom African. All you sell we out. Look how all you have people suffer it all about. Are waiting for all you for emancipation. Hypocrite, weak, lying, late bottom African. Remember Narayan Singh? People said he should swing. They even free Padma Sharma and Ram Logan want to destroy Abu Bakr. And in a taxi, I hear a man say, "This them ain't going away." But if it was a little black boy from Lavanti, he would have been on the plane already. And how come I ain't hearing anybody? Why they go protest like 1970? Where is Kafra Kambon and Orogo Ome? The so-called conscious men, they had nothing to say. And sometimes they just really make me feel to cry. When I see Macau dressed up in trippy suit with jacket and tie, if you forget wrong neck jacket, now we wearing big tuxedo. All you should never ever treat Mr. Money so. Is a set of fake for a couple $1,000. All the king gold break. Dr. Fido Blake always used to tell me that the black man is the black man's worst enemy. Leram Kipalani run the country. The driver can't drive when it was Robbie. I'm so disappointed in you, black man. You're white there, the late bottom African. All you ain't ashamed. Give back the African man his name. You should be complaining, praying to the office scene. You want to go up Lavanti and build a latrine. You'll find that black people must sit in the cold and Kamala could by remote control. I'm so disappointed in you, black man. All you said, bottom African. All you said, we out. Look how all your black people suffer. It's all about. I hate Tobago and their own champion. I show Jack is a late bottom. Thank you.
Oh yes, good evening to you, Lake Bottom African, by the mighty Crow, Western Rollins. I love Kaiso Foso. I love Kaiso. Welcome all of you to Politics 101 on Wednesday evening. It's my pleasure to be here. We're going to continue to call them out. And oh boy, Lake Bottom African by the mighty Crow. The mighty Crow, we're going to teach them Kaiso. Oh boy, welcome wherever you're joining us from, whether you're joining us from inside of Guyana or you are joining us from outside of Guyana. Welcome to Politics 101. Good evening to all you good people up in Linden, all you wonderful people in the interior of Guyana. Welcome to Politics 101.
So this year, why didn't song is to tell so many black people who didn't go to the polls that they're wrong, and they want to kill me for that. You know, the song is, all you look for that.
November 7th, I see black man cry. Look, blood still running from black people's eye. But I remember when a sunrise, African rise. And I beg black man, please open your eyes. While I was singing and boxing me liver string, black man asking me where Atlantic lay. Then they put their 14th finger on the shelf. So today, black man, you must blame yourself. Cause when I sing, they never listen where Coco say. Black man's mentality gone Spectrum and PSA. Big lyrics I sing in, they wouldn't listen to me. Black man telling black man how black man come out to party. I remember when I sing Sham, we don't want it. The same black brothers say Coco, you're singing shit. So today say through my phone while you strike your hand. Black man, oh you look what that. I wonder why black man always on the kickstand. Black man, oh you look for that. A man on a charge for interfering. Black man on the still go and vote for him. Black man, how on earth you could condone this? Your daughter might have to work in this man's office. Can you imagine this sex if I had it? 12 fingers under your daughter's dress. Me and saying that Patrick should have been served, but even Jim Baker would have been better. All them women who went begging the other day about this maniac, where all you have to say concerning this thing, all the silent and talking peace. So the office girls must be at the mercy of his peace. He was charged, so I die in the sports of truth. I'm concerned because I have a daughter too. I'm talking from my heart, I'm telling you, black man, oh you look for that. Why on earth black man always want that star? Black man, oh you look for that. Remember slavery on the plantation? Master used to use a black man to beat black man. So when I hear 17, I got a pain. I say, oh God, black man go beat black man again. Because black man give black man soup, but black man want ham. Black man intention is to pressure his own black man. He give them soup, they say he treat them like an outcast. So now black man takes smoke hearing in your hand. After all this on behalf of the African, with 2 seats pressed, you had the ball in your hand. I spoke to Leroy Clark and South Rockamble. And up to now, them can't understand where we're done. You went and was knighted up in Africa. But to you, black brother, you prove a traitor. If Abubakar return and the shooting start. Ata, oh, you look for that. And if you don't cross the prime minister's path. Ata, oh, you look for that.
The mighty Crow, mighty Crow, black man, all you look for that. Good evening and welcome to Politics 101. It's a Wednesday evening and it's the evening after Monday evening. Well, you all remember Monday evening I play Crow Calypso. Lick bottom Africans. You know the Trinity they say bottom, we say BT or Bamsi. Same all too. Lick bottom. We used to call it ass liquor. But the young people they turn it wrong. They say lick ass. And I went to town as I have to do on Africans who for selfish reasons are running after the PPP like little slaves. I'm a proud black man. I don't care who party all you want to join. I don't care. That's not the business. As I say, I know plenty, but not plenty, a few black people who have always been PPP. The Luncheons and the Roys and Belgrave and Clinton Collymore, EMJ Coco Wilson, even my teacher Lumumba and so on. They go in the PPP, they take blows to the PPP and so on, and I don't care your business. But when you see our money come here and the PPP is not sharing the oil money equal, and they're saying to black people, you got to come to me and act like a slave for you get some of this money, and some black men and maybe some women are going crawling for personal reasons, then I have something to say about that. That is not joining a part of your conscience. That is behaving like a slave. And then they don't go. I hear they dip on some of them big man, dip on the road sharing mirror. Somebody called me today, look, James Bond, the sharing mirror. Hold on. You can go where you go. Go on, go away. Go drink your soup and keep quiet. But you go in and drink your soup, making yourself a pappy show. They got PPP members don't share mirror. What is James Bond doing on the road sharing mirror newspaper? When last you see James Bond sharing New Nation? But you go there and the people get you like a little lackey. And this is not about James the person, who I still consider to be a good guy. But it's James, this individual who is going crawling. And then you're telling other African people, come and share in the progress. Come and make yourself a slave. That's what you're doing. You're catching your own people and delivering them to the slave master. And once you begin to do that, then this proud black man is going to say, my foreparents didn't die to bring me here for me to sit down quiet and watch you all denigrate blackness. And so I'm going to speak out. And my speaking out is not so much with them, because some of them beyond redemption. Let it go away. Now come back. I'm speaking to those of us who are left and who may be tempted to go after those ones. It's them I'm talking to. And so Monday night I did what I consider to be part of my calling, and that is to defend my people. To defend my people. This voice that I get here is not me voice. Because if it was left to me alone, I wouldn't get a voice in Guyana. This voice is as a result of the collective sacrifices of my people from before the Middle Passage, coming through the Middle Passage, right up to now. And so this voice will sound the bell of black resistance forever and evermore. And so the PPP were on here on Monday night, as they usually are. And I wake up this morning, open the Chronicle. I just read the Chronicle because I'm a student of politics. I have to know what's going on. I have to know what the devil is saying. Big story. David Hines call African Guyanese lick bottom. Right, long story. David Hines called lick bottom. So I said, I'm glad. You all have done me a great favor, because I want black people all over Guyana that when you see them, I'll lick bottom. And I only had a couple thousand people here Monday night. But what the Chronicle did is to share it wider. They put it on Facebook. And they've done me a great favor. Thanks for the advertisement. Thanks for spreading my message. You all come back here tonight. You all write another story for tomorrow paper. And come every night. I'm going to give you all a story to help us to spread the message of black liberation. And so the thing went like wildfire all over. I was on Lake Bottom. Lake Bottom. If you heard her crying like little baby, if you heard the Indians, them, he denigrating your own race, he must be a racist. Everything is racist. Let me tell you all something. East Indian, when you walk out from them and go over to the PNC, they call you Nimakaran and they call you traitor. Me mouth can't pronounce Nimakaran right, but it can pronounce Lake Bottom right. And no Indian has the right to tell me how I must talk to my own people. I've earned that right. I've earned the right to say to black people, when you all doing wrong, no, you all doing wrong. I have the scars to show for it. And I'm going to exercise that right. I was on Kidaki this morning. Come off Kidaki, you get plenty messages. Oh, Lord, critic then, and critic dealing with the thing there. So I finish what I do, and then I go over to critic. And critic is, saying, oh, as a scholar, and I shouldn't use such language, and so on and so forth. And you want to know what is the context and thing. So I send critic, because critic say, well, he know me, I'm always cordial and civil, which is true. Me don't talk about critic and so on. So I send critic on WhatsApp, Crow song. And I said, that is the context. And I said, critic, Indian people just call them who sell out Indians, Nimakaran. I said, black people just call them ass lickers and lick bottom. And you just call black people hungry belly and low life. And Jack Dior just call black people and other people low life, fossils, and all name. I have the right to call my own people who are straying from the straight and narrow way what I call them. And I have no apology to make to you or anybody. The only apology I have to make is to black people. Because they're the ones who want to protect my back. When the PPP take those same black men and say, go and kill David Hines, they will do it for a penny. And I have a duty to decrease that army of lick bottoms. And I will do it every day. My daughter sent me a text. She said, look, the former mayor, she's very classical. The former mayor write a thing but you. I said, which former mayor? She tell me, Narayan. I said, where you write? She said, you dip on the page, go and sing it. When I go on the page, Ubraj Narayan write a long thing criticizing me and say, oh, me this and me that, and if me saying that about black people, or what me go say about Indian, and so on. Let me say something here tonight. I'm giving Ubraj Narayan a pass because he lay down on the road for black people last year or year before that. He get a pass. He get a pass. But I want to tell Pandit one thing. Pandit, take your mouth out black people's story. We are grateful to you for standing with us, and I will never forget that because it takes courage to stand with another race. But there's certain things that keep your mouth out of. People call me left, right, and center, sending me all kind of text messages, cussing out Pandit. I'm not going to cuss Pandit. I'll give Pandit a pass because we are a grateful people. And Pandit lay down on the road for we. When some of your own leaders didn't lay down on the road, he gets a pass. But I'm telling you, Pandit, stay in your lane. This is not your business. There is something called tough love in the black culture. There is something called self-criticism. And I have earned the right to be critical of those who have strayed, the Africans who have strayed. When Indian people get a quarrel, I don't put my mouth in it. It's not my business. Pandit must realize Indian people not only call he and Ramjatan and Moses Nagamutu lick bottom, they call them worse than that. And to give this impression that it's only black people that cause their own when they stray is part of the lie that we're living in Guyana. So I just want to, one lady calling, a black lady calling pan critic. She calling for complain how me disrespectful to black people. And I'm gonna play for you what she said. And you all gonna understand why we got to make this lick batty thing on them permanent. Permanent. She called in, and you all will be shocked to see she called in for condemn me. Say me disrespectful to black people. And you all would be shocked. You all would be shocked to hear the lady.
I noticed it. So and it catch me a few times, but when I try to figure out what part of the thing from the start of the program like that, but was my thing is that in what context would you ever want to denigrate people to that level? Like here, y'all ridiculous. You understand? Y'all attitude around because even little questions, all right? But like solo, like for he.
It is low and it is disrespectful.
I would see with somebody of other ethnicity that who is being racist or whatever, right? Being sarcastic or so people like that. But now I don't know if he knows what is his purpose. But as a leader, you got to maintain morale in your ranks. And then for a man such as himself who knows African history, actually I think his African history teaches, knows what Africans have faced over the years, like the little out the way. There's a level of frustration second to none that he expressed in it. Yeah.
It is, and maybe he used the wrong analogy or the wrong. He did use the wrong verbiage. But when it comes to politics in Guyana and Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese, I believe that for me specifically, I grew up in a PNC stronghold family, and when I became an adult. I never asked questions. I voted for the first time, I think it was around Desmond White. He was becoming president at the time, and I voted for Desmond White because my family were PNC. I never questioned it. And I think now that I am much more mature and trying to understand more of Guyanese politics, I think a lot of Afro-Guyanese vote because of race and not necessarily knowing what they're voting for. And I think it comes down to that sheep-goat mentality. Sheep walks in herd. They follow what everybody do, and nobody's thinking for themselves. A goat thinks for himself. If a goat is walking across the road, you think about it. When you back in Guyana and a goat about to cross the road and one get knocked down, all the rest turn back. But when you see a sheep walking across the road and one get knocked down, everybody running in the middle of the road.
So
and I think that is the definition of what politics looks like in Guyana.
So what I've just learned, somebody put in the message, because remember that was the beginning of his program. So it seems that he was referring to James Bond. and his support for the president. But funny enough, a man like David Hines has not culminated to anything major in the political arena in this country. James Bond, young, a lawyer, he done well for himself, a business in Melanie. He's done well for himself at his bar and everything else, and now have realigned his political ambitions and alliances. And them bandits get vexed when people.
Yeah, but I did an entire video on James Bond on my platform, and I think that James Bond is thinking like a goat. He's thinking for himself, and he's seeing. You see, a lot of people vote in Guyana for race and not policies, and we got to look at policies, and we got to look at what the change for the people is coming. Everybody's looking at who's stealing what and who's doing propaganda. I just came back from Guyana a few weeks ago, and as I was driving down from Timeri, going down to where I was staying, and I'm looking at the homes and the houses in Georgetown. Georgetown was once a PNC APNU stronghold. So that's the largest population of Afro-Guyanese. And you're talking about properties. You're seeing buildings that were owned by Afro-Guyanese. We have Afro-Guyanese that are complaining that land is being taken and they're not getting land. But they have land in their possession and they're not taking care of it. It's falling apart. Boards falling apart. The government is supposed to do that. You gotta give Jack where Jack is due. You know what I'm saying? People want the government to do everything. What are you doing for yourself? Take accountability and look at policies. But every politician is going to have propaganda and corruption, whether it's America or Guyana. And I'm not saying the PPP don't have corruption. I'm not saying the APNU don't have corruption, because they all do. What I'm saying is, when we're voting for a government, we have to look for policies. And Guyana has grown so much in the last couple of years, and that is under the PPC government. And the truth is truth, whether they want to accept it or not.
I hear you, ma'am.
Whether everything for Guyana, everything for our Guyanese people is race. And we black people, because I am African, I'm Afro-Guyanese. We black people are one of the most racist set of people, because everything is, the coolie them not like we. There's no good coolie until you're dead. Everything is race for us. And then we turn around and say it's the
no, but I don't think it's hereditary, ma'am. And I must say, let me interject, because when you listen to David Hines, whoever listens to him, you realize that he setting the precedence and the narrative, and it should not be that way. You understand? Like I walk in the streets of Brooklyn, I watch these apartments and calculate $2,500 a month for apartment. Do you know it's $2,500? One off $2,500, you could have a house lot in Guyana. No, I am saying, when you come back to Guyana, no, Art, you don't have money to come back to Guyana. Do you have an ID card? Do you have a Guyana passport? Well, here, borrow money for your credit card. I tell you business logic. Buy a ticket, return ticket to Guyana. It's $120,000. Come sign up for your $100,000, so you know where you're getting your money from, right? And in the process, before you come sign up with housing, sign up online, so you could come back and get something sorted out. When housing tell you come in, you know where you're come collect the cash will cover me back. Let me say you ain't got money. Let me say you're there bad in Brooklyn. Let me say you're there bad in Queens, right? Just be prudent. Take the little thing with a gear. Do your little work, build your house. When you come, you have something to retire to.
You migrate to America and think America is home. America will never be home, even if you have a green card.
I think we have heard enough. So here is a black woman. Here is a black woman calling to say David Hines is disrespectful to black people. But she goes on to say black people like sheep. Goat get sense. Sheep not get sense. Black man like a sheep. Black man not get sense. She goes on to say that black people are the most racist people in the world. You all see why we got to hammer these lick batty? Because she is a prime example of what I'm talking about. She grew up in a PNC home. But licking Batty. And see, my point is exactly this. If she is a PPP, God bless you. But do not come in the public space and denigrate black people like this. You're open game now for me. Because I am jealous of black people's dignity. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't care if they want to go and lick how much BT they want. They're licking it with their own tongue. But then when you finish licking with your lickety split mouth, come and telling black people they're like sheep. Other people go, they get sense. Are you not get sense? Are you the most racist people in the world? And only a fool will come to Guyana, see people building their house, and say, it's the PPP building the house. People bringing their money from New York, Canada, Suriname, and building the house, and a jackass like that comes to Guyana, see people building their house, and say, it's PPP development. And then she see the other house, where the PPP thieving money and funneling money to the people to build mansions and say that's development. Thieving house, thieving money, money laundering house. And a jackass like that is going to talk development. And that is the danger of these lick bottom people. That is their danger. They're not going and lick and drink the soup and burn them out and shut up. They're doing what Indian people not even doing. Indian people drawing down and they're gone in the corner. They put them in the bank, they invest. Black man come, he get $1 million and he jump on the rooftop. Oh my God, look house. And that is what I am pushing back against. If they want to join the PPP, that is a business. That's their business. Go join. Go join. But don't come and talk that kind of nonsense. And that's what this is about. They have awakened me now. Not that I need waking up, but I know that I get them where I want them. I know I get them where I want them. A Chronicle reporter came Monday morning to WPA press conference. She asked questions. Chronicle has not carried a story. But they come the Monday night to Politics 101. And they're peeping around. And they say, all right, we get David Ainsley. We're going to embarrass you. Embarrass me? And you spread the word for me. Let them little picnic, see them on the road, lick bottom. Lick bottom. That's what you call them. And that's what I was talking about, that we have to push back against those people. They're so stupid in the article. They quote what I said, politically and personally, I am for the best leader regardless of race. But given the war that has been declared on my people, I have to talk about the leadership of the other race that damaging the people of me race. And if I had no thoughts of lifting up Aubrey Norton and lifting up Nigel Hughes, whether they want me to lift them up or not, I have to lift them up. And I'm saying to you all black people, you all can vex with them because we are self-critical in the black community. We've always been self-critical in the black community. Be critical of them, but don't pull them down. Because that's what the lick bottoms they want. And that's what they're doing. Good evening to you all, and welcome to Politics 101. Crow, Weston Rollins, the midget, the bad man of Calypso. Lick bottom Africans. They're worse than house slaves. At least the house slaves, when massa a traveler, they used to tell the field slave, you go away. You go away. So you can start the rebellion. At least some of the old slaves used to carry news from massa. the old slaves used to have to tell them what time master does go to bed, so they're gonna know what to do when night come. Them this year worse than our slave. Lick bottom Africans. Good evening, and I have a guest tonight, and it's Mr. Lelon Saul, who let me bring on Lelon. And Lelon is an important man for this discussion tonight. Lelon was the CEO at the housing place CH and PA, you know? And Lelon used to work for $400,000.
No, 407.
It's seven, no? And then they bring this by, and I don't know what they give. And so Lelon know about how the housing thing was working. He was the CEO man there. Lelon also dep on the town council. He dep on the town council. And we saw the mayor yesterday said it is time for executive power for the mayor so the mayor can get some things implemented. And so I want to talk to Lelon about what's happening there at the housing place. Lelon, talk to us.
Good night.
How you doing?
I am good. How are you doing? I noticed that you're very, very angry, and you have all right to be angry. And I fully endorse what you're saying. I don't have a problem with your statement.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother. Tell us about how, because what bothers me, and I'm sure what is bothering a lot of viewers here tonight and beyond there, is how is it so easy for these guys to sell off our land like that below a market price and selling it to special people and people who with questionable background, etc. Give us a sense, first of all, when you worked, how it operated.
Okay, even before I get there, I just want to give some background information. The Central Housing and Planning Authority was established in 1948 to address the issue of housing, affordable housing for the working class. And actually what happened in the 1930s, condition in the colonies were very, very bad, social and economic condition. As a result, in 1938 to 39, the Moyne Commission was established to investigate what was going on in the colonies. And as you know, the Second World War broke out in 1939. And so at the end of the war, several measures were put in place to alleviate condition in the British West Indies. As a result, the Central Housing and Planning Authority was established to address the issue of housing in the sugar belt in Georgetown. They had many big yards in Georgetown and so on. So they had to address those issues. And since then, the mandate of the CHP has not changed. And so when I was at CHP, the way how we operated, first and foremost, priority was given to the working class, and that is what we were interested in, to address housing needs of the working class. But mind you, at that time also, we had to address some of the deficiencies in the existing schemes because there were an absence of utilities and proper infrastructure. But I want you to understand what we are seeing now and what we have seen under successive PPP government is where we have corruption, and corruption is rampant. I think today you would have read in the Starbrick News the report from the Transparency International Guyana, the Corruption Perception Index for Guyana, and it tells a story. And so if I am to look at the challenges in the housing sector and the controversy that you have there, one, you have allegation of political patronage and inequitable access. It appears that PPP loyalists and Indo-Guyanese are benefiting more from allocation than any other person. Then we have the issue of transparency. The allocation process lacks public oversight, and that is happening. And then we have ethnic disparity, and this is not allegation. In 2022, a University of Guyana study found that 78% of the beneficiaries in Region 3, a PPP stronghold, were identified as Indo-Guyanese, compared to 12% in Region 4, an opposition-affiliated region. And that is happening at CHPA. I am not making wild statements. Then we have infrastructure deficit. Well, I see now wild spending to catch up with what is going on. And so in many communities, you do not have proper roads, so the take-up rate of house lots is very low, or allocations have been made, but there is no proper infrastructure, so people cannot access those lands. And if you look, I think in this year cycle, the PPP said they will allocate 50,000 house lots. And so what is happening there? You're making allocation, but there is no infrastructure. And so allottees cannot access these housing area. An next problem that you have in some cases like Lost in Russ, the place is prone to flooding. And so even though people are living there, as soon as the rainfall, the place is flooded, they do not have proper drainage system for that area. Then there is no, in building a community, you have to take into consideration certain facilities should be there, like schools, health facility, and so on. And you have to bear in mind the transportation network. There are many communities where access to public transportation is problematic. And so you have people living in communities, and to access work and school and so on, it is really, really problematic. So there is a need to address that demand when it comes to, that requirement in terms of transportation. Affordability also is a problem. The average person find it difficult to access mortgage at the bank. For example, you would not believe it, in Georgetown, what we have observed is an exponential growth in informal settlement. People are squatting on the embankment as I speak to you. Over the past 2 weeks, I observed people squatting on the Lama Canal embankment. They built pit latrine there, and that water is being used in the city, right? And so these things need to be addressed. Overall, there seems to be very poor management how we use the oil wealth to improve the livelihood of people. And so these are the issues that are affecting the housing sector. The bottom line, we have a government that is morally corrupt. And therefore, we will continue to be faced with this problem. You have a government that believes in patronage. You have a government that have a procurement system that is so opaque. No one knows what is going on. And the same gentleman that you were speaking about, critic or whatever is the gentleman's name, we see that he has 2 projects that are lagging behind and no sanction. Bellevue Pump Station, and then there is some housing development that he was doing that is way behind. We must understand, Guyanese must understand what is going on. And they must make proper decision, and you just cannot speak wild about. As you were speaking, the woman I was listening into her just now, I felt so angry. I don't know what she was speaking about. She does not understand what is going on. The fact is, in this country, there is great disparity in terms of wealth. There are few people who control the wealth, and the majority of the citizens are punishing. That is the reality. And I don't want to lose sight of what I was discussing, the whole issue of housing. And when you look in Georgetown, you can get a fair idea what is going on in terms of housing. When you look at the informality
Lelon, let me ask you
in
something.
Georgetown, you will understand.
What was your salary when you were there?
At the time of leaving, my salary was about $700,000. Of course, you had to pay tax from that.
Right. So that's
I am not certain what is the current CEO's salary. I have no idea.
But from your knowledge,
maybe he was well paid. I don't know. The mere fact that he can acquire property in the United States, I must believe that they're paying well. And
that's where I'm going. From where you are, from where you sat as the CEO of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, what authority you have as the CEO to make decisions about who gets land and who gets the best land and so on.
I want you to understand that CHPA is a semi-autonomous agency. As the CEO, of course, I was the most senior executive within the agency. Notwithstanding, I report to a board. They have a board of directors. And the board reports to the minister. So I could not have made decision without the board having a say. Even in allocation of house lots, that must be presented to the board and the minister for final approval. So I could not have done that.
You could not have done that. But here's the story.
No.
You work there. You must have contacts in there still. Was that practice that you described there, was that practice continued after you left, based on what you're hearing?
I wish if I can answer that question, but I don't know.
Do you get the sense that the CEO could have made certain decisions on his own?
To be truthful, I don't know. Perhaps.
When you were there, were you subject to pressures from politicians to do certain things which you rejected?
No politician cannot pressure me to do anything that is improper.
I'm not saying. I know where I'm going. Were there attempts?
I was not. I was not because
here, Lelon, this is not about you. I get into the president. Were there attempts to influence you politically?
No, there was never. Because I think that
from your intelligence, if I walk some way, I must get people who can tell me what's going on there. From your intelligence, has there been political meddling in the agency since you left? From your intelligence,
I'll tell you this. If you understand how the current regime
no, I understand that. I want to get it from you.
Definitely, there would be no question in all state agency in Guyana, in all ministry, they're not allowed to operate in a professional manner. Yes. The bureaucracy has been politicized, and we all know that.
Yes.
So there's no need to ask that question.
Lelon, I am sure that there were political pressures on you, and I'm equally sure for the Lelon I know he won't tolerate it. What I want to establish for my audience here is that in these agencies, the politicians do attempt to meddle. And because I am saying, the accusations against Mr. Greaves, we don't know whether it's true or not. But it is very clear from the response of the Vice President, the President, and the Attorney General that they are covering up something? Your view.
I am positive that the vice president, I listened to him, that they're covering up something. And I strongly believe that Mr. Greaves was asked to resign. He did not resign on his own, right? And whatever Mr. Greaves might have done, of course, he could not have get involved in certain thing without the fiat of senior people or his superior. That is my considered opinion.
When you look at the amount of land, when you look at where the lands are located, would you, as CEO, have given out those lands, or would have allowed yourself to be pressured by other people to give those lands out like that?
I don't think so. I want to make a point. I want to come back to the mandate of CHP, and it's something that I would have advocated. First and foremost, we must take care of the most vulnerable people in the society.
Yes.
We must attend to their housing need. Those who wish to get involved in those massive housing development, they can buy land on the open market at competitive rates. And I'm speaking about land, undeveloped land, and they can put their money in and develop it.
Right.
Because even as we move forward, one will realize that we are yet to address to the housing need of the most vulnerable in our society. And I want to tell you something. In 2019, IDB commissioned a study on housing deficit in Guyana. And they disaggregated data by region. At that time, they conclude that the quantitative deficit across Guyana was somewhere between 25 to 30,000. I would agree. Since then, there's a formation of more families, right? Therefore, by now we should have satisfied the needs of the citizen of this country. Further, they said the qualitative deficit was about 30,000, meaning that people are living in buildings that need upgrading and so on. I want to point out too that prior to 1992, that we were living in houses, we were not living in caves. But there was always a deficit in housing in Guyana, though. But by now, we should have addressed that need. But as you go into some of these new schemes, you see sheriff apartments, right? Obviously, we are not catering for the ordinary people. And even as I mentioned about sheriff, it seems like sheriff taking care of us from the cradle to the grave, and we have to be careful how wealth is being distributed across this country. And I want to remind this nation or emphasize that housing is a basic need, is a basic human right, the right to housing. And therefore, CHP must get the act together. They must try to understand what is going on in informal settlements right in this city and what measures they can put in place to address it. We cannot wish the problem away. We should not. I would like to invite you and take you to some places in Georgetown. Only recently, I was behind the Chinese embassy where a consular was murdered. And I was appalled by the living condition in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
The condition that people are living under. No one should live under such condition. And therefore, with the abundance of wealth that we have now, we need to address the housing need of people and stop playing politics. Stop ticking the box. Stop allocating house lot to people that are not developed. Stop giving people a slot and they don't have the means to access mortgages. We have to get new ways, being innovative. How can we help people? Whether we have rent own, whether we have housing co-ops, where people contribute sweat equity, whatever is it, we need to help our people. Stop playing politics, and CHPA need greater oversight. And there's a need for an investigation into the operation of CHPA. There's some serious allegation of corruption coming out from that agency.
Yes, and that's the
From
point
the
I'm
top
making.
to the bottom, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making, because I'm saying that I never worked there, but I have talked to people who are working there right now. And they tell me the level of corruption. What you described was the modus operandi when you were there. That is long gone. That there is the agency is run by political directives from the Minister of Housing. That I understand the vice president and president and so on are sending down directives and all those kinds of things. Leland, let's shift gears and let's move over to the city council. You are a city councilor, and this yesterday, the day before, the first citizen, the mayor, is asking for executive authority to move his program forward. First of all, does the statutes of the Mayor Town Council allow for executive authority to be vested in the mayor?
No, it does not. But what we have an administration that is not supportive of the council. I for whatever reason, I don't know. Even though the administration,
I mean, come on. I mean, which PPP government is going to be supportive of the council? Come on. We got a very bright audience.
No. But the administration.
You mean the administration of the city and town council?
Yeah, I'm talking about the administrative staff, the CEO of the town.
Everybody licking bottom now.
They're creatures of the council. We pay them, and so they do not carry out our directives at times, or they find reason to stall. And so we have to come up with ways of how we can get them to work, or how we can implement our program to bring relief to the citizens of Georgetown. Hence, the mayor would have made that statement. It is terrible that.
But no, I'm trying to be practical. You said that there is no statute. Hold on, Leland. You said there is no statute to allow the mayor to have executive authority, so that he can get, he and the council can get their agenda going. How is he going to acquire that executive authority? There must be some standing order or something.
For example, this is what we are doing. Let me give you an example. If we say to the town clerk, we need you to advertise for a particular good or service, and should she refuse, the council will vote and so authorize the mayor directly to do that. And in that, passing that motion also, and directing the council to pay. And that is how we hope to do things as we move forward.
Okay, so there is a mechanism. There is a mechanism.
Yeah, there is a mechanism.
There is a mechanism. In America, they call it the nuclear option. All right?
Yeah, and that is what we are doing.
That is what I'm asking you, because I want the audience here to understand what mechanisms can be used. I'm sure that the mayor would not say that I will have to resort to executive authority if there wasn't a mechanism for him to think. And so you are conforming here that there is a nuclear option because the council can vote to give him that authority.
Yes, there is.
Good, good, good. That's what we're talking about. Now, has that, from your knowledge, has that option ever been used by a mayor?
I am not certain, but what I know that this council, we are very, very focused on what we want, and nothing is going to stop us, because as far as
Can,
we concerned,
can, is it,
Section 75 of the Constitution clearly states that local government organs are autonomous, and
yes,
therefore
that is the letter
we
of the
cannot
Constitution.
deal with the unnecessary intervention by central government. We
Yes,
are
but
not
central,
prepared to have any unnecessary interference.
but
We will
here,
do our
Leland,
work. As we move
Leland,
forward, we
Leland,
will do it.
Leland, I want my audience here to have a sense of what is happening there. All right? Section 75, as you said, it says that the local government is autonomous. But the Constitution also said that the central government is supreme. All right? And that
Yeah.
holds. Right. So what I'm saying, what I'm trying to get you to tell our audience, what mechanisms or loopholes are there for the council to use to get on with its work? You just said that they can vote to give executive authority to the mayor. Is that done by a majority vote, or you need a supermajority vote?
A majority vote only.
A majority vote. Do you all plan to pull that trigger, that nuclear trigger, as they call it here in America?
Yes, we will do it on specific issue.
On specific issues.
Once there is a problem and we recognize that the administration is unwilling to implement our decision, we will do that.
Okay.
We have no choice but to do that.
What are the issues you are facing right now that you are forced to pull that mechanism, to use that mechanism?
As I said, there are many issues. For example,
no, but I want to know what are the most pressing issues that the council, because clearly the mayor was very upset, and so there must be some pressing issues that you all are facing, that he feels that he will have to reach for that mechanism.
Most of the issue that he was upset about, or all of the issues are pertaining to financial matters and the planning of meetings. And I'm the chair of the finance committee, and there were several issues on the agenda that I asked to be presented at the meeting that should have been held last week. And that meeting was not, for some reason, the town clerk did not plan that meeting. And he was very, and he had all right to be upset about it, because on the agenda, we propose a slew of measures to increase the revenue of the city. And therefore, we need to deliberate on these issues. We need to present them, have discussion on them, and decide on the way forward. And in one case, the town clerk was questioning what we were doing, and she actually wanted to suggest that we were breaking the law in relation to an item that I asked to be placed on the agenda. That is not our role to dictate to us and tell us that we want it on the agenda. We have to discuss it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't tell us that we are breaking the law. It's there for discussion.
What is the situation with the hotel that they're planning to build on Carifest Avenue? Where that is?
The mayor would have attempted to have discussion with central government as pertains to ownership of that land. We were not successful in getting anywhere with that. Today, I did pass on some information and some document that I have to a lawyer for further advice how we can move this process forward. Because, one of the problems that we have encountered, I was trying to get a particular survey plan that was done by Mr. Chalmers. I think it was in the 19th century. after the abolition of slavery, and I was not successful in getting it from Lands and Survey, because on that plan, we would have seen clearly exactly where is the allocation that was
Right,
made
right.
to the colonial government, to the city, and so on.
But clearly the
But
PPP strong arm in you all. Now,
yes, they
what
are, because I
what
want to
is
tell you something. They're claiming that we don't have any land. I think north of Thomas Road. But you know what? We do have land north of Thomas Road, because the land adjacent the art station that was leased to Jerry Gavayo. It is a property of the mayor and city council. So right there, they're wrong to say that we don't have any land north of Thomas Road. But we are fighting the case. I don't think we have not given up, and I want the citizens of Georgetown to understand that, and we will not.
what is the state of the collection of rates and taxes, especially from big business and from central government?
Um,
Has there
Presently,
been any
we are working to improve the collection. We have,
has there been any improvement since you all have taken office?
yes, there have been improvement, and this
From
year
big
we are
business or from the central government? Or both?
from the central government. Um, they did pay up. Some of the government agencies and ministry, but we have to do a review to see. We are due to do a review of collection at the end of this month to see what is going on there. In terms of the businesses, we continue to work with them. We have launched a project to collect rates and taxes from all citizens across the municipality, all ratepayers. So at the end of March, we will be in a better position to see how well we are doing, because that is critical. But one of the major problems that we have with central government currently is the way that relationship with them, because central government is they're executing a lot of projects in the city, and there is no consultation or collaboration with the municipal government. We have no idea what they're doing, and they continue to do that. For example, in the budget that was recently passed, while we are planning to do some work in Border Green, we noticed suddenly they have a project to execute in Border Green, and one of the initiatives that we hope to do in the Border Green was to implement a public-private partnership to monetize several assets in the city, but they don't speak to us. They just run and implement project. And we don't know what are the objectives. We don't sit down and talk, well, look, if you do this, this is likely to be the outcomes and so on. So definitely that is an area that I think we will have to confront central. I know that we will have to have a discussion with central governments on how we can work together.
Mr. Lelon Saul, former head of the Central Housing and Planning Agency and currently a councillor, an APNU councillor in the Georgetown City Council. Leland, you did lend your voice to the biometrics debate. Without getting into the specifics and the technical aspect of biometrics, we want to talk about the political aspect of it. Um, uh, uh, do you accept the chairman's interpretation that it is the GCOM who must determine whether there is enough time to implement measures such as biometrics, such as screening the voters list? Is it our remit, or is it the remit of the government?
I strongly believe it is the remit of the government. And when I speak of government, I'm speaking mainly of the legislative arm of government. Um, it is very important. We can ill afford not to have a free, fair, and credible election. And in order to achieve that, we need a credible list. And we need to ensure that those who cast their vote are persons that are authorized to cast their vote. And biometric verification at the place of polling will ensure that. And biometric verification, or even the preparation for biometric verification, will allow us to clean the voters list. I know that there are several persons who died overseas, and their names are still on the voters list. There's no mechanism there to remove their name. Who is going to submit their death certificate? Nobody will. And perhaps if you check the voters list by now, you will find many people on the list who are about 110, maybe 15 or even 20 years old on that list. And it's something that we need to address. And I cannot endorse Justice Singh position on the voters list. And government needs to get their acts together. And
Well, the government is not going to get its act together. I mean, those kinds of
but
things
I
we use.
may I say, if they don't, I think the time has come for the citizens to apply maximum pressure on the government to ensure that we get what we want. We are too damn passive as far as
But
I'm concerned. I
Leland,
always say
Leland,
that.
Leland, nowhere in the world, including Guyana, do citizens just get up and say, let's go out and protest. You know, they have to be led, they have to be mobilized. And so I think sometimes we think that people will just get up one day, leave their job, and say, we go on the streets. People are only going to go on the streets if you mobilize enough people on the streets. People look out through the window, they see 5,000, 10 people out on the street, they're going to join. They're going to join. But we seem to think that political parties must get a pass. They have to mobilize people. People are not going to be mobilize themselves. People will mobilize themselves to do things that even we, the political party, is going to be surprised at. And it's going to be a hell of a time to put it back together. So I think the political parties have to get going. What are your thoughts?
I do believe that the political parties need to mobilize their base, and should GCOM fail and government to address the issue of biometric verification, of course, they will have to increase the pressure. They need to put on the streets as much people as possible. That is the only thing that will move the needle in a certain direction. And we know that. We can be speaking now, oh, we want biometric, we want biometric. Nobody is listening to you. Not until that you are disruptive and you make people life uncomfortable. Then, only then, the needle will move in a certain direction. And
You're from
therefore,
you're from West Coast, Babis, and
yes,
often
I'm a Belgian man.
Belgium man, and
I'm a revolutionary,
often we talk.
revolutionist.
Yes. Often we talk about what's happening in Georgetown, and we don't always get a sense of what people are thinking, what people are saying in those far-flung areas like West Coast Movies. Give us a sense. I know you visit very often. What are people in the countryside in West Bobbies? What are they saying about this?
I think that, you know what? The rural folks in my community, they're very, very disappointed. They're not pleased about the direction in which things are going. Like anything else, they believe that they are being marginalized, and in terms of the wealth, it is not properly distributed. And of course, we know what the government is doing. They will single out a few persons, give them a little crowns, and you know, um, hoping that that will influence others to join. But I think that people are very much aware of what is going on, and that tactics by the government, the tactics, the whatever measures they're using, whatever tactics they're engaged in, it's not that successful because people are not stupid, you know. But at the same time, people want to see a more a more aggressive or a more aggressive form of action from the opposition, and they need to see that leadership. They need people to communicate with them much more often because at times it appears like if they don't know what is going on.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
opposition needs to be speaking to the base much more often.
The opposition needs to be speaking to the base more often. You are part of an organization whose name escaped me now, but the Anti-Discrimination Organization. And you had some public activity up to about a year ago. Um, what's going on with that organization? I know you all still meet.
It's we are still engaged in activities. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Lincoln and O'Brien they were across the river engaging folks and so on. IFAD is not dead. IFAD is still around. We still looking at what is going on. We add our voice to issues and we speak out against discrimination and so on.
Lelon Saul here tonight, weighing in on what's happening at City Hall in Georgetown. Of course, weighing in on what is happening at the Central Housing and Planning Authority, a place where he worked in as the CEO, so he knows what's happening there very well. And we just were talking about what's going on in West Coast Beast, where they have issues, land issues, and other such issues there. Leland, your chance for your closing thoughts.
Well, um, thank you. That times I want to say thanks for allowing me to express my views on these three critical issues. The one with housing, as I said before, there are a lot of challenges in housing in terms of transparency, and it's an issue that citizens must demand of the government to come clear on what is going on there. We need great oversight at housing. We need to address the issue of affordable housing and informality in Georgetown. In terms of the city hall and governance, it is clear that central government is interfering with the operation of the municipal government. This is undesirable, and therefore we would like to govern this city in a way that it is envisioned in the Constitution that we should govern. In terms of our electoral systems, I ask that favorable consideration be given to biometric verification at the place of polling. We can ill afford to go into an election with a bloated voters list, and the same method of verification cannot work. We know in
Verification.
many areas there are voter impersonation, and we must get rid of that. In many countries, they've moved to this point of biometric verification at the place of polling, and we must not reject that. If we want to move this country forward in a fair manner and to ensure that there's equity in the distribution of resources, it is important that we address those issues that I mentioned. There are very three critical issues that we really need to address. And without further ado, I say thank you. Thank to the listeners, the general public. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to be here again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother, and I'm sure you will be here in short order because things are moving so fast, and you are a person that has institutional connection as a counselor, as a former public servant. You have an insight that is up close and very personal. Thank you very much, my brother. And to you, our audience, thank you all very much. And remember what our objective is here is that we've got to protect our people from the liquors because they intend to infect our community, especially our young people. It's time for us to get proactive. Sometimes, as I say, you don't have to beat up anybody. You don't have to inflict violence. You see how 2 words? Eh? 2 words. 2 words. Lick bottom. Lick Bamsey. Sending them crazy. Sending them crazy. We have ammunition in our hands. We don't have to resort to the jungle. We don't have to resort to senseless violence or violence at all. Violence must be a last resort. But we must not be cowards. Words sometimes have power. On the one hand, David Hines has no support. He wouldn't even get 10 votes if he run for office. But on the other hand, David Hines, according to critics, is shaping the narrative. Damn right. That's why they sent me to school. I didn't go and read book for come back and show off. To come back and to use the book knowledge to set the narrative for our people. I'm glad you all know that. A fire in your behind. That is what I am to you all. I can't win vote. I will influence people to stop you all in your tracks. So you all know my agenda is very clear. Thank you all very much. Tomorrow night, Vincent is going to be here. And we're going to be talking GCOM. And we'll have to talk a little bit about what's happened at Moko. Because that is still on my mind. What happened at Moko, Arcadia, and the role of our institutions in this critical time. So I see you all tomorrow night. I have some of you to thank for donations. I forgot to extract the names. And none of you all didn't remind me to put up the banner with the information. But I'll do that tomorrow. I'll make sure I remember tomorrow. So I will see you all tomorrow night. Same place for another edition of Politics 101.